Hey everyone, and welcome back to Melbourne Railway Videos. This morning, another key milestone was hit in the construction of the Metro Tunnel, another sign that things aren't too far away from opening up. This is Degraves Street, one of Melbourne's most famous laneways. It is lined on both sides with cafes serving gourmet food, as well as featuring various boutique shops. And now, it has its very own station entrance. Well, that's not quite true. It's had this one since 1955 when they extended the Degraves Street subway to run underneath Flinders Street for the Olympics. But for the last 3 years, it hasn't had its own entrance because the Metro Tunnel works meant it had to close down. Let's go inside and have a look at this new, old way into Flinders Street Station. Unfortunately, the only way down from this entrance is via steps. No lift was provided, which I think is really disappointing given great efforts were made to install lifts on the platforms to connect into the subway, but not over here. I guess that this was the bare minimum to ensure compliance. Anyway, now that we're at the bottom, we see this illuminated, old-fashioned sign for the Campbell Arcade shops. And as we round the corner, we get into this broad corridor. This is essentially directly below this part of Degraves Street. It has been turned into somewhat of a gallery of photos from the construction of the Metro Tunnel, a great opportunity for people to reflect on the enormous undertaking this project has been and to get a sense of the scale of the significant challenges the engineers, workers and other staff have faced to deliver this project. Notice that this sign has both Town Hall and Flinders Street stations on it. I think it hits differently when you see the Metro Tunnel station names dressed in the same font and same formatting as normal stations, rather than in different fancy fonts online. It's no longer a concept, it's real, and it's about to be part of our rail network. Otherwise though, this part of the subway hasn't really changed. I think it has been resurfaced and pressure cleaned, but not much more than that. Okay, to the left and right of where we are now is where the entrances from the other side of Flinders Street come in. Again, I mean the actual street. I'll show you them in a minute. And now we're in Campbell Arcade, which is situated underneath Flinders Street, the street. As you can see, no shops are open at all yet, but Metro Trains had an expression of interest notice out on their website, so they definitely are coming soon. Now we have reached the Mikey Gates. Immediately after them, and to the left, is where the passageway through to Town Hall Station is. Again, I'll get to that in a minute. But as we head underneath these PIDs, we get back into the part of the subway that reopened first, and into Flinders Street Station, where you can head right upstairs like these to the platforms. Okay, let's have a look at the Town Hall connection bit. This is kind of it. It is all being covered up. I was hoping that they would have a fence up or something that we could peek through, but unfortunately not. The best I can do for you is to peep through this gap here, but that doesn't really show you much. Anyway, when you get off at Town Hall Station and want to change trains at Flinders Street, you will emerge here. Notice how I'm already inside the paid area? That's why the Mikey barriers have been staggered like this, to ensure that those from Town Hall don't have to tap off and back on again. I do feel like only having 3 Mikey gates is a bit on the low side. I wonder if they'll consider trying to squeeze in more on the left in the future, because I reckon quite a lot of people will want to try and get into and out of Town Hall Station this way. Let's go back into the arcade. There's nothing much to see at the moment. Peeking inside the windows, it's obvious that they haven't really started to fit out any of the shops either. There's no obvious timeline as to when those fit-outs are going to happen, but when they do, expect there to be a variety of interesting retail options. Probably not too much food-wise because of limited ventilation, but if it's anything like the old tenants that used to be here, the shops will be unusual and quite esoteric. I need to show you the other 2 newly reopened entrances. They both lead you out onto the northern side of Flinders Street. It looks like the sign here has space to fit Town Hall above Flinders Street stations, which will be useful for wayfinding. And once you get to the bottom, you're pretty much already at the barriers. The last thing I want to talk about here is the plethora of mysterious doors and spaces. There's this strange wall as you come in from one of the Flinders Street stairways, but on closer inspection, it looks like it can open up. Similarly, there are these doors here leading to, well, telephones apparently. It would be great to see what is behind these doors. If anyone knows in the comments, please let me know. Finally, if instead of turning right onto Degraves Street, we instead continue straight, you'll notice that the walkway continues until it hits a dead end. I have no idea why this is like that. Did there used to be further tunnels beneath here? Or were there plans for a more extensive subway which were never built? Again, please let me know if you know. That's all I have for Campbell Arcade, but before I go, I quickly want to talk about State Library. About 2 days after I released my last construction update, they removed all the hoardings and replaced them with fences. we can now get a sense of what the connection into State Library from Melbourne Central looks like. In fact, quite often when you walk past here, one of these shutters will be open, and you can even have a look into the station. It's looking almost complete, as you can see. All the PIDs are in, all the signage is in. It actually looks like it's going to open in a few months, as it should. In the foreground are escalators leading down to platforms 1 and 2 at Melbourne Central. I don't think it will be long until these are reopened, along with all this floor space currently blocked off by the fences. When this happens, they'll have to close the shutters to stop curious people like me from stumbling into State Library. So if you want to have a look yourself through to State Library, do it soon before these escalators reopen. That's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed rediscovering this quirky part of Flinders Street Station with me. It's so nice to have Campbell Arcade back, even if it doesn't have shops yet. I'll see you next time.